I don't really wanna talk when the cap comes off, yeah. I don't really give a fuck, I'ma let you walk, yeah. Let me live my life, I'ma let you do you, yeah. I just wanna have fun and with my feet kicked back, drinking hand, meditate about getting back. Chase good vibes, protect me, tell no lies and keep my peace. I just might have hurt my liver, 7-day bender, yeah, I'm a sinner. Full-time sender, when a chicken dinner. Truth don't bend her, lies, I'm no swimmer. That's this pussy, then my eyes get wide, silent killer. Pride go hide, mood tight like Miller. On my DT shit, blunts feel gorilla. Then I'm stuck in the same spot, work ethic vanilla. At least I'm working, and the road's real rocky, so I'm swerving. Daily hoes coming too, I'm not deserving. Pissed a few too many off, but I'm learning. Burning bridges that burn me. I don't really wanna talk when the cap comes off, yeah. I don't really give a fuck, I'ma let you walk, yeah. Let me live my life, I'ma let you do you, yeah. I just wanna have fun and
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 3 of Authentic Vibes Only podcast. Hopefully you listened last week. If not, you still have time. Go take a listen before you listen to this week's. We covered our journeys last week, and that's going to spill over into this week's topic of mental health and specifically men's mental health, but we'll cover mental health in general, and it'll maybe spill over, like I said, from a couple topics of last week in our journey and how we've handled depression or anxiety if we've dealt with it, which I know I talked about last week that I have. So I'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll spew some tips to get through that and go from there. So we'll start off with Jordan and hear a little bit on what he feels is an issue with mental health, or what he sees what's wrong or what's going on with the mental health in today's society, with everyone, but we'll target men a little bit later.
Right. So main thing is, like, in today's age, like, mental health, a lot of people negate it, so to speak, as in they're not necessarily always seeking out help for it, right? They're more of staying in their own little realm of being like, I can figure this out on my own, because maybe they have been able to get past it before, or they might feel like they're alone. Now, what is really good that I actually am happy about is that there is becoming this new awareness of accepting people having mental health issues and accepting that people actually do need just a mental health break from society. And this biggest thing is seeing with my brother, like, I think it's also across other high schools as well throughout Illinois, but they have mental health days now. And I think he was telling me they have 14 days or so. They get it every single semester that they can take as a full day off of school, and it's an excused absence. So that's kind of, progression in that area that you really do like to see, because it is very important, not only for the young adults in high school, but also trying to influence that into college, into, full-time jobs, into the work life, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that's becoming, like you said, more of a societal norm, which is a really good thing, that mental health is not a joke. And I'm glad that it's becoming so prevalent in today's day and age, because before people didn't, it's not really, before people just kind of push it away. Like you said, they just suppress it and deal with it without getting any help. But it is becoming such a known thing. The problem is that it is known, but like we still don't know enough about it. There's still a lot of research that needs to be done, and there's a lot of things about the brain that just can't be figured out, and why mental health is the way it is, or why it causes people the problems it does. That stuff can't be figured out. But like you said, just that's really dope that your brother's school gives that to them. I know that I'm pretty sure our old college started to do that actually, which is dope that it's being intertwined into schools. And I also know a few people that work for jobs, and they are like bigger companies, but work for bigger companies that are doing the same thing. They're giving mental health days, and it's not just like sick days. Like they're literally separate days, and you don't have to use a regular sick day just for a mental health day, which is a sickness, but like they have specified mental health days, and that's just an amazing thing. Um, and like you said, it's a good thing to start with the youth, because that can tend to be where it begins, even though you may not understand it at a young age. That is just one of the places it begins. And going off that, one of the numbers that there is that 16.5% of US youth age 6 to 17 experience some sort of mental health disorder. And maybe 16.5% don't sound like that much, but I feel like that's quite a lot. But when you break it down to actually how many people that is, that's 7.7 million of the youth, that's a lot of people. So that the fact that schools are kind of starting that initiative, and I think that is where that initiative started, is school started giving those mental health days, and then like companies and jobs realize like, yo, like that's a real issue, and we need to integrate that into work as well. It's not just like a thing with school. Like people have mental health issues at every age. It doesn't matter what age you are. So let's bring that into our company, and let's do that for work. Yeah, I just think that's a really good thing. Because another number there is, it says that 21% of US adults experienced mental illness disorders, which that also, that's a pretty big number, percentage, whether you think so or not. That's 52.9 million people, and that's 1 in 5 adults. So that just means that 1 in 5 people that you meet or know is struggling or experiencing mental health. So like a mental health disorder, whether it's depression, anxiety, panic attacks, anything along those lines. So that's why we talk about a lot of things we talk about here is just like being true and authentic to yourself, but like don't um don't be treating other people's just in a shitty way because you don't know what they're going through. So just always put off good and happy vibes, and even if they're not doing it towards you, like I said before, just brush it off, because they're probably going through something, and you don't know what that could be.
Precisely. Yeah. As they say, if someone goes out of their way to say something negative about you, it's a bigger reflection upon themselves than it is about whatever it is you're doing.
So you talked about how like a lot of people suppress it. So I want to get into a little bit of the numbers with percentages of people that did suppress it. And it says that people that have mental health disorders, US adults with mental health disorders that receive treatment was 46.2%, which is a lot bigger number than the ones we were talking about, for people that have it or youth that have struggled with it. But you got to think 46.2%, that leaves 53.8% of people that have mental health disorders not receiving treatment. And I think that's a bigger issue. Like, yeah, we have almost half, but almost half, like, is that really that much? It's really not. 53.8% of people are going untreated. And that's what leads to, like bigger issues of people killing themselves, and the suicide rate and death rate, just the death percentage and death rate of suicide going up. And a lot of those suicides have to do with mental illnesses. So for that to be such a high number, especially in today's day and age, and it becoming more normal, I think is an issue. And we need to do a better job as a society to allow people to know that it's okay to get help. No matter what that is, whether you need to take medication or you just need to see a therapist, or maybe both, or just talking to a friend or family member, someone that you love or care about, and someone that cares about you, and getting the support you need, because that's just really what you need when you have some issues, mental health issues and the sickness. Um, it doesn't always equate to getting medicine or seeing a therapist. It just feels really good to have support, in a support system that at least tries to understand or tries to be there for you when you are having those types of issues.
So I got a question for you. Do you
Sure.
think that number is so high for people that aren't seeking out help because they feel that society is going to look down upon them because they're being labeled as having mental health issues?
My bad, there's a big crash outside. Yeah, I do believe that, actually. Like, I think that people aren't getting help because they are nervous to hear or see what others are thinking about them, and they're too worried about that rather than helping themselves, which is causing them even more stress and anxiety, is not trying to be okay and understanding that it is okay to have that sickness and illness, that mental health is a serious problem, and having anxiety and depression is a real thing, and a lot of people experience it. And I think that if they actually knew, that's why I wanted to cover these numbers. If they actually knew how many people, and this is just the US, right? But if they actually knew how many people were struggling with the same disorders, that they would be more comfortable in getting help and realizing that it's okay to feel the way you feel, and you're not alone, and there are other people that feel the exact same way, and that it's okay to seek help in whatever way you need to.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my opinion, specifically more towards men than it is towards women. I feel like women, it's more, I guess, acceptable in society standards, as opposed with men. If you do decide to seek help, you get labeled as being weak, or, quote unquote, not being a man, or not getting your shit together, stuff like that. Well, that's really not the case at all. Like, you're just going through some shit and you just want to be able to overcome that. And the only way to overcome that is to get help and seek help and be able to dive into, why it is you're feeling that way and come to a solution.
Yeah. I don't want to focus this or like take out anyone, but we did say we're going to focus on men's mental health a lot, because we advocate for that. I struggle with it myself, so I want to advocate for that, especially because, like you said, I feel like men do have that feeling that it's not okay to have feelings or have emotion, and that makes you less of a man, which it really doesn't. You can still be very manly and masculine and show emotions that has nothing to do with it. So I want to talk about, showing men that it's okay to just show feelings if that is the case. Like, if you need to get help and show your feelings, and talk to a therapist, or get some sort of medication that will help with that, that's okay to do. And you don't have to be afraid to do it because you think someone else is going to judge you. That's all what this whole podcast is about, is allowing people to know that even if you have mental health issues and you struggle, like, that's you, that's still authentic and true you. And it's okay to have those issues, but you got to realize that you do need to seek help. And it's not like, oh, you have such an issue, you need to seek help. It's just like, you need help, like, to get through these things and deal with these things on a daily basis, is you need to seek some sort of help, just to feel better, and get that support that maybe you don't have, even if you don't have it with family or friends. um and yeah, I don't want to say that it's different, for females, same thing. If you're struggling, um then go get help. It doesn't matter, male, female, but we are going to focus more on males. But for anybody struggling, and like you said, it is more of a stigma for males, and the numbers actually show that right here. Only 37.4% of people receiving treatment that had a mental illness is male, 37.4. And for female getting treatment, that's 51.2. So there's a big gap right there just between male and females receiving help for mental illness, you know? Um, and like you said, it just really goes off the fact that there is a stigma that you're less of a male or less of a dude or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say about it, you know, you're a pussy, whatever. That's what people want to say, or any of that kind of thing, is that they do feel, yeah, they feel just lesser, and that's just a crappy feeling. But I think it makes you more of a person and more empowered and stronger, especially being a male. Even if you're not a male, but especially being a male, getting help and admitting that you need help, and you you receive that help that you need.
So switching gears a little bit, do you want to just talk about kind of your journey that kind of you had to go through? You don't have to go super deep, just kind of an overview basis so people can understand that it is okay and kind of what your journey entailed in doing so.
Yeah, I'm definitely cool with speaking on that a little bit here. Basically, I've had anxiety and depression my whole life, you know, and I struggled with it in high school, but it wasn't as bad. I kind of just stayed to myself, like you said. I suppressed it and didn't want to get help. And then college came, and I was dealing with a lot more issues that were bringing, especially the depression side of me out. And I was in so many bad places that it got to a point where, you know, I was at the lowest of lows, and I did feel like I never had like fully suicidal thoughts or nothing like that. Like, I'm not going to say like, oh, I wanted to kill myself, you know, because that's not the case. And if that is the case, yeah, like seek out, get help. It's okay. But I did get to points where I was like, damn, like life sucks. Like, I don't want to be here. But I was never like, yeah, I want to kill myself. And even if you are, I'm not saying that's an issue. But personally, I never got to that low where I was like, yeah, I'm going to kill myself. But I also did deal with a lot of places where I was just like, life sucks. I don't want to be here and stuff like that. And I knew that I needed to seek help when that started hitting me, and it was getting to a point where it seemed out of control. And every day I was just waking up unhappy, no matter the case, whether good things were happening to me, bad things were happening to me. It didn't matter. I was just sad. I was upset. I was super in my head. Everything that happened to me was just bad, whether it was good or bad. And I felt like a lot of good things were happening, but I still was just sad and upset and didn't know why. So I did seek some therapy my first couple of years of college, and I didn't really like it. You know, I think I was still, especially being a football player and male, I was still kind of struggling with that aspect of getting help. And so I went back to some vices that were not great. Like I said in the last episode, I started just drinking a lot to mask it, eating very unhealthily, and just creating vices and masking over it. But that never helped, you know, that it just elongated it and made me realize more that I needed help. So I came back home, whatever. I was doing decent, you know, like I was on that journey recovering. And then, especially within this last year, my depression had kind of gotten a little bit better, but I was also, like, when I got on this, I was taking a little bit of depression medicine as needed. I felt like they told me that that was okay if I just had a bad day to take it, you know? So I was okay with that, you know? I never really always agreed with taking medicine because I feel like it's not always getting deeply to that problem that I really want to do. So that's kind of where I'm at now. The depression has kind of subsided. It's not as bad as what it once was. But what's really gotten to me now is my anxiety, and I don't know why. But my anxiety for probably the last 2 or 3 months has been times like a million compared to what I had it before. I've always been in my head. I've always had it. And I've always been able to kind of manage it. I've always been like, just got used to being in my head so much. But now with the anxiety, it's gotten to so bad that, like I'm subconsciously like not thinking of anything. Like it's my subconscious brain causing me to have anxiety. Like consciously, I literally have no thought on my mind. Like I'll be busy doing something else, but then all of a sudden I go into a huge, like just get anxiety and have a panic attack in my body, goes into fight or flight mode. And my heart starts racing. I can't breathe. I have chest pain. And when they get really bad, that happens. And then my whole body just starts compulsing and I have like horrible tremors and shakes. So, I actually stopped smoking for that, not for that exact reason. At first, I was dealing with some other health issues, a lymph node type thing. That stuff's all good, But that's kind of where my anxiety was coming from, was just like health. I was worried about my health. So I stopped smoking because of that. And then I went back to smoking after like a 6 or 7 week tolerance break. And I had a horrible panic attack. So I came to the realization, that happened twice. That happened. I ended up in the ER. They had to put some stuff in me to calm my heart rate, whatever. And then I smoked again a week later and I had another attack. I didn't end up in the ER, but I still had the same symptoms. The shakes just weren't as bad and my heart rate didn't get as elevated. So after those two things, I had to reach out and get a new counselor and therapist, which I've been to twice. And like I said on last episode, I was feeling a lot better and happy with myself and comfortable with myself. So I stopped seeing the therapist as much. But actually, it kind of goes with like the spiritual awakening stuff. Like I had another attack this past weekend, actually, a really bad one, like the first one. And once again, it came after like I hadn't had any sort of like THC in my body. And I took a couple edibles at a Christmas party. I know it's late for a Christmas party, but it's our Christmas party. I thought it'd been so long that I hadn't had any weed or THC that it might be okay. My body might respond to all right. But then I ended up going into a horrible panic attack, ended up in the ER again. And, I just kept pushing it off. But the reason I'm pushing it off is because these attacks really don't happen unless I'm under the influence of some sort, like THC or alcohol. I get it really bad the day after I drink, no matter how much I drink. If I drink, I have horrible like anxiety the next day, like it gets really bad. Same thing, like had bad panic attacks. But it sucks that's the case, but I have kind of like narrowed it down that it happens when I'm under the influence of something. I still always have anxiety and depression, but the bad panic attacks happen when I'm under the influence. But I reached out to my therapist and I'm like I said, I'm happy and comfortable with myself and I'm okay and comfortable to admit that this stuff happens and I'm comfortable talking about it. I'm comfortable saying that I had to reach out to a therapist and a counselor to talk to about this stuff. But like it's just the one thing I can't get comfortable with is that like I feel normal. Like I deal with it on the day-to-day basis, but I feel more normal. But it's only happening when I'm under the influence when the attacks happen. So I can't figure that out. And that's where like an unhealthy thing that I want to go back to see the therapist about is really figure out like the root causes of this. And maybe, I don't have to smoke. I don't have to drink. I can change the lifestyle, but those are some things that I will like. I do want to enjoy at certain points, like if I'm out or casually with friends, we if I'm with friends and they're drinking or smoking, I'd like to enjoy that time too and not have anxiety around it, So the problem is also like once that happens and I'm under the influence of the anxiety, it takes my body at like a week or two at least to reset. So then I gotta just restart basically. But yeah, I reached out to my therapist, I'm gonna schedule a couple more appointments, see where that goes. And I think that's what's for the better is just like I need someone to talk to. I have the support system with my family, but I need someone else to talk to figure out this, like a professional to kind of help me with that. And I'm also on medication. One of them is like if I feel a panic attack coming on, I take that. And another one's just to like help with the chemicals in my brain that cause me to have anxiety and depression. But that's also a thing I want to talk to my therapist about and stuff, because that's one thing I'm actually, like I'm talking about people being comfortable taking medication. I don't feel comfortable taking that medicine. And that's because I've masked this stuff for so long that to me, the medication is just another mask and I'm not actually solving the issue. And that's just what I'm worried about. And I've talked to the doctors and I've talked to the therapist about it. And I guess it's not a mask, like a lot of things get masked over with sickness and disease, and that's what mental health is. But like just diabetes or heart disease or any of that, and this is gonna sound weird, but like traditional medicine, they just give you medicine, they give you a pill to take, and it's supposed to help that issue, but it really just makes your numbers better and look better. It doesn't actually fix the problem. So when that problem, like if you get off that medicine, the problem's still going to be there, and it's probably going to be worse because you were just masking it. And that's my issue with taking this medicine. So I probably, sound like an asshole not taking it and advocating for people to get medication, but that's one thing that I need to work on myself when it comes to seeking out help, is realizing that it's okay to take this medicine and they're prescribing it to me for a reason, and it's not a mask. It's to fix this is a medicine that actually fixes those chemicals in your body that aren't hitting your brain right and causing you to have anxiety and depression. So that's just about my journey, like it's been really bad the last like 3 months. I've been in and out of the ER for horrible panic attacks that literally I thought I was going to die. Like people talk about it and some people don't understand, and you probably won't understand or anything like that unless it's happened to you. And I really don't wish that upon nobody and hope it hasn't happened to you. But if it has happened to you, I know you understand. And it's a really scary and dark place to be. Um, and I've really, really struggled the last 3 months because of it. Like without just like depression and anxiety wise, that's what makes it worse. But I ask myself every day, like, why the hell is this happening to me? Like why the fuck is this happening to my body? Stuff like that. So yeah, just me myself personally reaching out to start scheduling more appointments with my counselor to figure out the deep rooted issues on where it could be coming from is my first step. Because I'm kind of like restarting the process, and also starting the medication, and being okay with taking the medication and knowing that it really is truly going to help me. And even speaking with my doctor when I went in this past week, Monday, because the bad attack happened Sunday. I had already had an appointment scheduled for Monday to reestablish because I needed to get a new doctor. Mine retired. So then I ended up in the ER for a panic attack. And then I had to talk to her about that on Monday when I went in. And she basically just told me to start taking my medication. And then in 6 to 12 months, like those chemicals should, and more than likely, she said more than likely, but I can't guarantee it, but I'm going to also pray and be hopeful that that's the way it works, because it works that way for a lot of people. That my chemicals in my body and brain will be back to normal and I can actually stop taking medication. So that's a dope thing. I just need to start it and realize that it's okay to do it and not feel some type of way about it, and stop being so afraid that it's just another mask, because these are professionals and they're actually trying to help me. And I'm not drinking to cover up my anxiety anymore or my depression, or smoking weed because I think I do enjoy smoking weed, and like I said, that started my spiritual awakening a lot. But then like after so much and doing it so often, I think that I was doing it to kind of mask my depression and anxiety as well. And I've come to that realization after not doing it for so long. um, those are some things on my journey that I've learned. So yeah, I just really advise anyone that needs help to seek it in any way possible that they feel comfortable with doing. And even if you feel uncomfortable doing it, once you do it, that's the first step, is just scheduling that appointment or reaching out. And you'll get there in time, with comfortability and being okay with it. Whether it's seeing a therapist, seeing your regular doctor, and getting prescribed the right medication for you. And yeah, that's where my journey has taken me, and where I'm at in my journey right now. It sucks, but we're taking steps in the right direction, and that's all that matters, and that's all I care about. And getting myself better mentally is really all I care about. Because when I'm not there mentally, physically I'm messed up. My body's messed up, like mental illness is like such a serious issue. And I know like it's still like, it is more of a societal norm, but it's still something that's not understood. Still a lot. And with mental illness comes like a lot of serious symptoms. And besides like mentally, like just tripping yourself out and telling yourself things that aren't true, or being in places you don't want to be, you have some really bad physical symptoms. I have like a lot of pain and tingliness in my upper back from being so stressed out. I've seen doctor appointments about it. I even talked to you about this. I still have a neurologist appointment about it to see if it's a pinched nerve, but all the signs are pointing to it just being because I'm so stressed out that my muscles are so tight in my body that it's causing me to have that like pain and tingliness shooting down my back and stuff like that. And I just feel sick to my stomach a lot. I lose my appetite. You can have weight gain, unexpected weight loss, all that type of stuff. You can look very sick in the face, and it has a lot of serious symptoms with it. So it's not something to play around with. And yeah, you just need to seek help in whatever way you think you need to, and just reach out, take that first step, and take the initiative to getting help, because there's professionals on this kind of stuff for a reason. And it's okay to do that. Don't ever feel like it's not. That's how
Yeah.
I really feel about it. Sorry, that was such a long, but I want to
You're
get
all
really
good.
detailed about it, because I want people to really know. Like I said, I want people to know that there are other people going through the same types of issues, and maybe symptoms or thoughts or stigmas on why they don't want to get help, and that kind of thing. So I wanted to really share like my story on my mental health. And it hasn't been fun, but like I said, we're stepping in the right direction.
Yeah. So piggybacking off of that, do you have any tips for anyone that might be going through this just to get through, their day-to-day life? Like, do you do anything specifically to help you get through your stuff, or is it more of you have gotten used to kind of going through it your life to where you're like, yes, I acknowledge, I know that I have it, but I can live with it? Or kind of, if you're at that point, were there any tips along your way that you use to get to where you're at today?
So a lot of the thing I've learned a lot of things about my mental health, that just from going to the doctor and stuff like that. Like I said, like I take a supplement that I stopped taking for a while when the lymph node stuff came on, and it's actually an all natural supplement. Ashwagandha. It's a natural cortisol level reducer, which is like a stress reliever. And I cold turkeyed that, and then I cold turkeyed smoking. And that like I said, I was already diagnosed with depression and anxiety, but they think that because I cold turkeyed them and then like started back on them slowly, or tried to put those substances back in my body, because I was having some weird side effects besides that, and that's why I got the lymph node checked out. Like I was having horrible night sweats, like not like, let's just put before talking about all the symptoms, let's just say I was having symptoms of like a cancer. So that's why I was freaking out, and that's why I was having anxiety from the lymph node type thing. But all those signs also, after all my tests came back for the lymph node, all that stuff's good. All signs point to having withdrawal symptoms, basically of getting off an anxiety medicine. So the ashwagandha is, like they've told me, the best natural stress reliever that's not like a medicine that they prescribe. Like it's an all natural thing because it's a herb. So they told me to get back on it and stay on that. And they gave me 2 medications of their own, but they said to do that. And same thing with smoking, they have medical marijuana and medical cards for a reason. Like smoking gets rid of anxiety for a lot of people. That's why a lot of people do it. But since I stopped it and then tried to get back on it and introduced it into my system, they think that that's what's causing it to be way worse. And since it's gotten way worse, I have had to really try to find ways to not have anxiety because I'm not smoking, but I have new medication, like I said, but I haven't been taking it, which I will be starting this coming week. But ways, I feel like since it's been so bad, it's been really hard to get out of that state of mind, like that fight or flight, like I can't escape it. And that's the problem with um depression, anxiety, and that's why I think everyone should seek out to get the help they need, because doing it alone is really damn near fucking impossible. And I'm gonna tell you that firsthand. Like there are tips, and I'll talk about a couple things that I do to try to, when I feel some type of way and I feel like I'm gonna go into an attack, that I do. But when it's so bad, like you just can't like you seriously can't control it. Like even doing those types of things didn't help me. But I will talk about some things that do help with it. And those things, stuff entails with that is when I do start to feel anxious, because like I said, it's not always horrible, but when I do start to feel anxious or whatnot, I really try to get in the present and like ground myself and however I can get out of my head and just like start doing stuff physically. So like touch, sense, and like smell and feel is like a big thing with anxiety. Like you need to like feel stuff, smell stuff, to really get in the moment, to make your mind like get out of your mind. So that's a good thing. Like some sort of like incense or like essential oils, especially lavender. That's like like depression and anxiety like scent, that if you like smell it's supposed to relieve those sort of types of things. So like yeah, just touch, feel, smell, try to smell something. It doesn't even have to be essential oil, but like coldness and shit, heat, stuff like that. Like get your senses going, because that'll get you out of your head and make you start thinking like, oh, like that's cold, oh that's hot, oh that smells like this. It'll actually get your cognitive brain thinking rather than your subconscious brain. So it's like kind of like grounding yourself, I guess. In deep breathing, just like whether you want to call it meditating or not, I'm gonna say it's meditating because I do meditate and stuff like that. But any sort of deep breathing, and especially like same type of rules, like 4-4-4 type thing. Like you breathe, inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale out your mouth for 4 seconds. Do that like up to 10 times, and that usually will relieve all that like a lot of that stress. Not all, like I said, sometimes it's so bad that this stuff doesn't help. um but that usually helps a lot. There's this thing where they say if you breathe pretty much like primarily just through your left nostril, so cover up your right and just breathe in and out of your left nostril for like a good at least minute, maybe like 10 times. That's like a thing that helps. And just like meditating type yoga, like listen to like some sort of like frequency. There's certain frequencies you can look up that are specifically tailored to relieve stress and anxiety. Or just like a calm noise, whatever calms you down. It can be rain sounds, the forest, like just air. Like look that up on YouTube and throw it on and just sit there and breathe, or sit there and like do some sort of stretching type thing. It just really gets you into your like, if you're stretching, it gets you and you're like more relaxed. You're circulating blood through your whole body. So it does relax you, but you're also just like circulating all that energy, not just from your head. You're circulating it everywhere. All the blood flow goes throughout your whole body and stuff. So yeah, I'll say those type of things work for me. Any of that, I enjoy a lot of that stuff, and that's what I do a lot to help me. I'm not going to say any of those specific things can help someone else, but I think they will help other people. So I think those are good tips.
Yeah, those are pretty good tips, though. I mean, you're speaking to someone that, you know, has gone through these things, is still going through these things, still, you know, dealing with it, going to overcome it, just on that journey of getting to that point. So, you know, if you are dealing with these types of issues, again, it's okay to go seek out help. It's okay to acknowledge that, yes, hey, this is going on, and it's not something that I want to be feeling every single day. You know, like it's something that I want to be able to overcome, which I think is possible for everybody. It's just some people can get there faster than others.
Exactly. And that is another thing that I think comes with it, is like one of the biggest things you have to do when it comes to depression and anxiety. And this comes with kind of seeking out help. What's going to make you seek out help is just like coming to terms with the fact that you have depression and anxiety. Like, you may not know it exactly, but there are signs that point to it. So like coming to terms and at least not trying, but at least going to see your doctor about it to make sure you don't need help is still a good thing, because then you know for sure maybe you don't have it, but you have something else, maybe you have it a little bit and there's easy ways to help you overcome that, or maybe it's really bad for you and you do need to be on medication, or whatever the case may be. So coming to terms with it is a big thing. And that might be, besides seeking out help, that's probably the first step, is just like realizing like there's something wrong with me. I may not know exactly what that is, but I want to reach out to someone to figure that out. Excuse me. And let's talk about you. Have you ever had any sort of encounter, and do you have any sort of journey or type of depression, anxiety that you've had to go through or still go through? And if so, like, what have you done to counteract that? Or if not, what's your experience like with dealing with someone that does have anxiety or depression?
Right. So I never actually had anxiety or depression, so to speak. I was never diagnosed or anything of the sort. I will say though, I talked about my journey on our last episode. When I was going through that realization of like, is this really who I wanted to be? I was having those like doubts of my life of being like, what am I doing? Kind of being low necessarily, but not being super low, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was more of being able to experience that and say, at least for myself, it's like, what am I doing with my life? Because I'm mad at myself that I'm not being who I was supposed to be, and dealing with those negative emotions that flew in with that. And, there were some times where, I was feeling lonely, things of that nature. And especially once I transferred out, it was a very lonely process for about 2.5 years. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily the exact same correlation towards, anxiety and depression. But I'd say it's still, it's less severe, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So that's like my journey, is getting over that, of being like, this is a very lonely road. However, I know that this is what I have to do to get to where I want to get to in my life. And the biggest thing that, I mean, even to this day, that still grounds me in that is asking myself, like, what's my why? What's my purpose behind everything that I'm doing? And your why isn't something like, oh, I'm doing this because I want to get a good grade. Your why is something that's deeply rooted inside yourself, that when you talk about it and when you think about it, it gets emotional because it's that powerful. And like today, that still motivates me to do every single thing that I'm doing. Now, in terms of anxiety, recently in the last probably, like 3 to 4 months, so to speak, I have been dealing with a little bit of anxiety. normally, like, I don't really stress out at all. I don't really have anxiety that much, if at all, typically, because I just focus on, like, well, I can acknowledge that there are pressures on top of me and there are all these societal pressures and norms, stuff like that, but I ignore it. And I'm like, all right, I know it's there, but I'm here to get my stuff done. That's what I focus on. But for like lately, it's been just randomly, I'll get like a random, not necessarily anxiety attack, but more of like a panic attack where like my heart just starts pumping up, elevated heart rate. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, why am I feeling like this? And I have realized that it's because of all the stress that I have been putting on top of myself, high standards I have for myself. And I have to give credit to my girlfriend who has really helped me understand that it's okay to not constantly put so much stress onto yourself and to just enjoy your life in the moment and know that the places you want to get to, you will get there eventually, but there's no reason to, stress about it or get anxiety of being like, shit, I might not make it there because in the current moment, it doesn't seem like it's a reality, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that like anxiety, depression can be overlooked because of reasons or people like you. And that's not a bad thing. I think that there's like long-term anxiety and depression, but you can have anxiety and depression from anything, like it can be anything and it can be short-lived. That's why I said like just if you feel the need to seek help or if you're having issues, seek help, because it could just be like a short-term thing you might just be going through for a little bit because of the situations in your life can cause it, like you said, you got a lot going on, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and those are different emotions and feelings that you're not used to feeling, and that's causing you to be stressed and have anxiety. um and I think that, I'm not trying to turn this on me, but I think that that's a lot of the reason why I've had also a lot of anxiety is I've been really under a lot of pressure and stress. um I'm trying to figure out the root causes of that stuff, but I like I said, I've always had anxiety and depression, but it's just been so much worse. And I've been under a lot of pressure. We launched this brand. Before that, I just graduated school, and I went into freelance designing, and I think beside one more thing, I also had been promoted at my parents' restaurant, like I literally run the show there. And that's a lot of stress. That's a lot of things to deal with from that. But then freelance designing has caused a lot of stress because I think with all of it, I'm worried I'm not gonna make it. So then I just stress myself out, like what the hell can I be doing to get better? Or like why am I not doing better? I feel like, or I'm just always under this constant feeling of I'm underperforming when I'm actually like
Yep.
overperforming, like
Yeah.
I think I'm underachieving, but in reality, I'm overachieving. I'm doing a lot and I'm putting a lot of stressor. Wow. You see, my brain's just in all over the place. I'm putting a lot of stress and pressure on myself with all that stuff going on. And it sounds like um that's where the exact same thing's happening for you, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you've never dealt with it, like you said, like you had your low points, and you can still be depressed at that time. You're still depressed, you're still upset, you're still sad, you're going through it with those low points. And now the anxiety, you're worrying yourself because you got so much on your plate that it's just causing your mind to go 1,000 miles an hour. And then it causes anxiety, causes you to worry, and just all that stress releases different chemicals in the mind and the body that cause that kind of thing to happen. So it can be anything from surroundings, work, social life, friends, family, it can be love life. It can literally, the root cause can be any of that kind of stuff. So if you're worried about it, um, seek help. I'm like you said, it's nice for you to have the support system of your girlfriend, and I'm sure if you asked, you'd have your family on your back too, or maybe you have asked or talked to them about it, but I'm sure they'd have your back as well. But some people don't have that. And to the people that don't have that, seek professional help. Ask a best friend. If, like I said, if you don't have a best friend and that's why you're stressed out is your social life, seek professional help. Ask a therapist, ask your primary care doctor, any of that. Um, but yeah,
I
that
got a question for you, Braeden.
go ahead.
I mean, this is for myself, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this of people that are becoming young adults, right? And even people that are grown adults and well into the workforce. Do you feel as if as you get out of college, right, and you are getting into the workforce and getting into the quote unquote, big boy, big girl jobs, that there is this extra pressure and extra, how do I want to say? Yeah, it's this extra pressure that is put upon you to get to a certain point by a certain time. And if you don't get there, or if you feel as if you're not doing enough to get there, that it does bring about that anxiety. Because for me, like that's my issue, is that I put all this pressure on myself because I want to get to these places. And for me, I feel like I'm not doing enough, even though I always keep getting told that I'm doing way more than I probably
Need to be.
realize. Yeah, and probably need to be. Like I'm doing more than I actually realize that I'm doing, and I'm farther along than I realize. But I'm still putting that extra pressure on myself to get to that point.
Um, my answer to that is as I believe that, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit. I believe that social media and just having access to seeing what everyone else is doing constantly, even though we may not realize it, this is like a subconscious mind type thing, is like our brain is telling us we're not doing enough because we see someone else is doing more. So it's that constant comparison, and this is where it just like stress and anxiety can play a big factor in that. But it just comes down to the fact of what this whole brand is about, and that's staying true to yourself and authentic, and knowing that even though you're not where they are, you're where you need to be. And coming to terms with the fact that you're on your journey, you're not on their journey. So it may take you 5 more years than what it took them to get there, but you're still going to get there in due time and in the time that the universe is set for you to get there. And you're going to have to go through a lot of different things than what they went through to get there, and learn a lot of different lessons than what they probably had to learn to get there. Everyone's life is different. Everyone has a journey, and everyone is meant to be what they're meant to be. And you just have to stop comparing yourself to others, and just know that you're going to get where you're going to be, where you need to be, as long as you put forth the effort. um I know it sucks and it does cause stress and anxiety, but don't focus so much on the comparison, and social media just fucks that up. Like I do the same thing, like we talk about it. I see others our age and I'm just like, man, I'm not there yet, but like I know that I shouldn't be doing that. It just happens sometimes. But I also come to the realization that, yeah, I don't need to compare myself, and I'll get there in due time because I am putting forth that effort. So kind of like the comparison type aspect, and it all ties together. Like a lot of that ties together for people on them comparing themselves to other because of having that access because of social media is causing all that extra stress and anxiety on other people, when, like you said, deep down they're putting in that fucking effort and they don't realize that they're doing a hell of a job in life. And just because they're not where this one person is doesn't mean that they're not doing a good job or working hard in their life. So yeah, just stay on course, and stop worrying about what others are doing and focus on what you're doing, and stop stressing yourself out and thinking that just because someone else is somewhere that you're not going to make it, or you're not on time or any of that kind of stuff. I think it all kind of ties together for that.
Right. Now here's another question for you.
Okay.
I'm just loading you with questions today.
No, that's
man.
fine. I mean, that's good.
Right. So how do you want to say? How with your experience and even just your own personal thoughts, what advice would you give somebody who does like put such high standards onto themselves to where they might not realize how well they're doing?
It's hard to give advice on that when I struggle with that, you know. I give my best advice, but that's something I struggle with. It just kind of comes to, I think that because of, I'm gonna talk a little bit about social media and stuff, and just being in your head and being stressed about that, is it comes to terms with the fact that we really need to ground ourselves and live in the present and not be so in our head about what happened in the past or what is going to happen in the future or what we want to happen in the future. Like, you want to visualize, you know, that's a really good thing, especially for manifestation and when you're meditating. But you can't allow that to make you worry and just stress about the future. Like, you want to visualize where you want to be, but don't fucking do it every day, all day, and make it fucking stress you out. Don't let it stress you out. Like, you got to realize and really just like, yeah, come down from where you're at, get in the moment, look around, and really evaluate yourself and look at what you've done and where you've come from. And I guess I said don't live in the past or don't think about the past, but compare it to where you were a year ago. Like, you gotta live in real time and be like, damn, look at where I'm at right now and look at where I was a year ago. Like, don't live in the past, but in that aspect, do live in the past. Like, you want to think back to a year ago and be like, I was a completely different person and I was doing this and doing this, and look at where I'm at today. Look how many obstacles, how many steps I've taken, and how far I've become to become a better person and take steps to reach the goals that I have put in place for myself. And yeah, you just really have to look inside and evaluate where you've come from. You stop like worrying about the future and stuff. Get in real time, get in the present, ground yourself, and think and really realize like where you have come from, and think about all those steps you've taken and everything you've done. Because when you get stuck in the flow of things, you do lose sight, you know. You may not realize, like you said, that you are doing so much, and you may lose sight of your goals because you're just so used to that everyday routine and normality that you forget, like, holy shit, I've done this much, you know. So that's where kind of like meditation and grounding helps in this process. And it even helps with like we said, stress and mental health, because this is all this kind of stuff can lead to stress and depression and all that kind of stuff and anxiety. So grounding yourself and just really knowing, just like I said, look back at all those fucking things you've been through, even good or bad, but just know, like, look yourself, even if it's looking yourself in the mirror, look yourself and just look inside and be like, damn, I really did that, you know. Like, you just have to, we're always on here and I can't find the word I'm looking for, but yeah, just look inside and you got to find that word for me, bro. What am I trying to say here? Evaluate, I guess. I don't know. Evaluate every little step you've taken, you know. You're going to realize that you've done so much, and probably in so little time, and you were so stuck in going through the flow of everyday life that you didn't even realize it, and you were putting all that extra pressure on yourself for no reason. Like, you've really come a long way, you know. So that's my advice and answer to that question is just ground yourself in real time, in the present moment, and then look at where you're at, realize where you're at, and really think like a year ago, this is where I wanted to be, is where I'm at right now. So I really have come a long way. I really took those steps and I didn't even realize it. I'm a way different person than I was a year ago, or I did this year and I didn't even realize it. I sold this many cars and I did it every day thinking, I didn't do it. If you're a car salesman or you're a whatever kind of business owner or a nurse, like I did this every day and I saved this many lives and I didn't even realize it. I was just stuck in the flow of things and I thought I wasn't doing nothing. And while I was doing all that stuff, it made me a better person. And I bought this for myself, or it doesn't have to be like real items, like life isn't always about buying. What is that word? I lost it again. My head's just all over the place. But it's not always about like buying stuff either, but just like that can help you as well. Just thinking like, oh, I did this, and this, and it helped me get the house I wanted. And I didn't really think this was the house I wanted, but a year ago, that's what I wanted. I wanted a house. I wanted a car, a new car. I wanted this in my life. I wanted this relationship, and now I have it. And it's like living every day and then kind of taking the things for granted that you once really wanted in life, and then you get so stuck in it and living everyday life but not really living it because you're in that flow. And then you lose track and forget that that's really was your goals and what you wanted in life and where you wanted to be. And a year ago you weren't that, and that's what you were striving towards.
Yeah. So, for myself, now granted, I'm not perfect at it. Everyone has their ebbs and flows, stuff like that. But the thing that has been working for myself is journaling every
Yeah,
day.
bro.
Like when I first wake up, journal for the first, say like maybe 5 minutes or so, just talking about like what are kind of three things I want to do today, what am I grateful for, just stuff like that. And then at the end of the day, before I go to bed, maybe 3 to 5 minutes of talking about like what are three, what are your three best things that happened today? And it could be anything. And then just reflecting real quickly on how your day went. Or saying the question that is always fun for me to answer is like, what's one thing you could have done better today, or that you wish you would have done?
I think that's a really good thing, like that's one thing I haven't started doing that I have just put on the back burner that I tell myself I'm going to do every day. Like I said, I write my affirmations in my gym notebook, but I really need to start journaling because I myself get really stuck. Like we said, we both get stuck thinking we're not doing enough and we're doing a lot, in more than what's expected, and we don't even realize it. So you journaling and you just talking about that is gonna probably push me to really start that. Like that slipped my mind that's such a good thing to help yourself not get lost in what you're doing every day as well, and just stuck in such a flow where you don't realize what you're doing every day. So yeah, like I'm sure you probably start your day every day too when you do it. Like, what are my like 3 goals for today? And then you end your day with maybe how did I meet those goals? Or like you said, what are 3 good things that I did today that I really made me happy or enjoy life? Or what are 3 things that made me happy today? Stuff like that.
I mean, hey, if you're looking for one, 5-minute journal. It's called the 5-minute journal. Dude, it's amazing.
Send it to me.
I will, don't you worry.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm game on that. That's one thing I would really like to start doing, and I should have done a long time ago. You want to go into the quote of the day, or you want to keep talking? I mean, I could go a little bit more, but I also can go into the quote of the day.
Let's go to quote of the day. We're going a little long here for those that are going to be listening. So.
True. Do you have a quote of the day like you're supposed to this week or no?
I do have a quote of the day.
All
Actually.
right. So we both have one, and if yours is good enough, I'll say mine. But I think it's also good for today. So let's hear your quote of the day. We'll reflect on that, and then we'll also go off mine.
Right. So I somewhat said the quote of the day a little earlier when we were talking, but it's from Eric Thomas, known as the hip hop preacher. And he says, what's your why? What drives you? Well, what wakes you up in the morning? What makes you do what you're doing today? And ultimately, like when you are at your lowest, when you are not necessarily feeling best, what motivates you and helps you to want to get out of that place?
I don't have much comment on, it's self-explanatory. I have a comment, but like it is self-explanatory, that's Eric Thomas. He's a good dude to listen to. If you never listen to him, he is very motivational. Especially being like an athlete, like that's a good person to listen to. But yeah, when you're down, what makes you want to get out of that place, or when you're in bed and you really don't feel like getting out of bed, think on why you should, or what is the reason that you should. Or if you're really depressed or stressed, why should you go get help? Maybe you don't want to, but why should you? That's gonna, because I really want to relate that to that, because that's what today's episode's about. So like if you're stressed and have anxiety and depressed, why should you go get help? Ask yourself that. Because my answer is that I want to be a better me every day, and I can't be a better me if I can't get help with this. And I'm not going to be a good person to other people, and I'm just going to keep hurting people that love me, because I'm not helping myself by getting help with these issues. So that's how I'm going to relate it to today's talk. And yeah, it doesn't even have to just go based off of depression, anxiety. Like he said, what's your why every day, and can be in any aspect of life. Why am I working this job today? Why am I going to work today? Why am I getting out of bed? Why am I going to lift weights? And answer that for yourself. So I'll come with my quote. I guess we got two quotes. The first time we've had two quotes of the day, this exciting day. It's an exciting day. Two quotes of the day for today. What is it? February 10th. We have two quotes of the day. My quote of the day. I always try to get stuff that kind of relates, or like I said, first episode, the one was just universe sent to me. My quote's from Dolly Parton, and it says, "The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain." And I also think that kind of goes along with Jordan's quote in like the why. Like, just because it's a shitty day, or you have a rainy day, or you're getting rain on your parade, you still got to go through it, and you got to get through that before you're going to see the light, before you're going to see the rainbow at the end of the road. You have to deal with the rain first, and you have to get past certain obstacles, no matter what that is: depression, anxiety. Seek help, get help, and you'll see the rainbow at the end of the road. You'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not always rainbows and butterflies, they say. Also, it is so much more to that. There's so much more to everybody's life and everybody's journeys, and they all come with bad days. But when you have those bad days, that there's going to be better days ahead, and there's going to be better days waiting for you. So always remember that no matter what, even if you're getting rained on, you're going to see a rainbow at the end of the road, and you'll see light at the end of the tunnel. Even on every shitty day you have, there's always tomorrow. May not even be the same day, but if today's a bad day, you got tomorrow. Make tomorrow a good day. If something bad happened to you that the that day, even make the next hour better. Don't stay in that negative mindset. Think positively and know that better things are coming. Whether it's tomorrow or maybe it's just a bad 5 minutes. No, the next 5 minutes are going to be good. You got past the bad part, so now it's time for the good part.
Yep. And you just reminded me of a whole another quote. I believe it's from Eric Thomas, but he basically says, if you weren't promised tomorrow, what would you give for it? Or maybe, no, it was Ray Lewis. Yeah, definitely Ray Lewis, where he says, if you weren't promised tomorrow, what would you give for today? Just being able to refocus yourself and saying, all right, we're only focused on today. We're not going to focus about yesterday. We're not looking at tomorrow. Just, this is my day. And no matter what's going on around me, you control your environment, right? You control what you're going to be doing. So what are you going to do? And what's your mindset going to be in that day of, even though it might be shitty and even though you might not feel the best, are you still going to be able to use your why to get out of bed, to go do things you have to get done? And also keep in mind that this might be shitty, but there is that light at the end of the tunnel, because there is always the light at the end of the tunnel, even if you can't see it right now. The biggest thing is just have to be consistent of showing up every single day. And I can't tell you when that light will show. I can't tell you when you'll get to that point. But what I can do and what I can promise is that if you stay consistent on a daily basis, you will end up getting there at some point.
I'm not going to add to that. That's a good way to end. This was an amazing episode. Another deep episode for myself. Like I said, I'm comfortable sharing my experiences with you guys. I'm not here to feel sorry or sorrow from you guys or pity. I'm really here just to make you guys comfortable in any aspect. Like I said, I deal with anxiety, depression. That's me, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be always bad, like I want you guys to know the true me, and whatever the case may be. Like today's focus was that I want everyone to know that every time they listen to this podcast, that it's an opportunity for them to hear another story or another topic that's going to allow themselves to be more comfortable in who they are and be more comfortable to show the world who they are, whether that's good things about them or bad things about themselves and things that they want to work on. That's what this podcast is about. So thanks for another good episode, Jordan. It's always great talking to you, and I hope you guys enjoy episode 3, and always remember, watch episode 1 or listen to it on Spotify, watch it on YouTube at Authentic Vibes Only, and on Spotify, Authentic Vibes Only Pod. Listen to episodes 1, 2, and now we have 3 for you guys. So thanks for the support. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will be back next week, Wednesday at 12 p.m. And like I said, every week we'll have an episode for you guys until we feel that we're done. And I don't think that's going to be ever. There may be times we're not every week, but right now we got a good thing going, and we're just excited for you guys to hear about being authentic and being okay with being yourselves. So have a good night, everybody.
I don't really wanna talk when the cap comes off, yeah. I don't really give a fuck, I'ma let you walk, yeah. Let me live my life, I'ma let you do you, yeah. I just wanna have fun and with my feet kicked back, drinking hand, meditate about getting back. Chase good vibes, protect me, tell no lies and keep my peace. I just might have hurt my liver, 7-day bender, yeah, I'm a sinner. Full-time sender, when a chicken dinner. Truth don't bend her, lies, I'm no swimmer. That's this pussy, then my eyes get wide, silent killer. Pride go hide, mood tight like Miller. On my DT shit, blunts feel gorilla. Then I'm stuck in the same spot, work ethic vanilla. At least I'm working, and the road's real rocky, so I'm swerving. Lately hoes coming too, I'm not deserving. Pissed a few too many off, but I'm learning. Burning bridges that burn me. I don't really wanna talk when the cap comes off, yeah. I don't really give a fuck, I'ma let you walk, yeah. Let me live my life, I'ma let you do you, yeah. I just wanna have fun and I don't think I'm special. Everybody around telling me I'm skipping levels. Devil on my shoulder saying trust my ego. Don't trust, never trust that evil. Cause when I did, bender from one sip. Trauma when I was a kid. It all came crashing down, down, down on me. Break me down and build me up. I don't need help, I do it myself. Roll it loud and lift me up. I'll put you in the liquor on a shelf. I don't really wanna talk when the cap comes off, yeah. I don't really give a fuck, I'ma let you walk, yeah. Let me live my life, I'ma let you do you, yeah. I just wanna have fun